A unit on forces in motion where they learn about pushing and pulling and kinetic energy and potential energy. And they end their unit by going to KidSpace. And at KidSpace, they spend half the time in the KidSpace classroom and half the time in the Galvin's physics forest. So in the KidSpace classroom, they have 3 different demonstrations that show kinetic versus potential energy. And after every demonstration, the kids have to explain what was the kinetic energy, what was the potential energy. How is the kinetic energy released? And then they're asked to go out into the Galvin's physics forest and do the same for every single one of the displays that are there. They have a wheel where they have to move around the weights and again explain the kinetic and the potential energy of it. They have another display where they have a bottle rocket that uses air pressure to launch it into the air. And again, they have to explain the kinetic and the potential energy. For 4th grade, I want to highlight an amazing resource that we have here at Claiborne School. If you are not familiar with our campus, we have a lower school science lab that is completely stocked with every material that a teacher could ever want. And 4th grade has really used the lower school science lab to help enrich what they're learning in the textbook and bring it into the real life with demonstrations inside the lower school science lab. So some of what they've done in the lower school science lab this year is they've dissected owl pellets and they've looked at what's in an owl's diet, what's the food chain around an owl, and how can we figure that out with what's in the owl's pellet. They looked at pond water underneath microscopes and are able to see that there are many microscopic organisms that we can't see with our own eyes. They created crystals using borax and Epsom salt. They created mini ecosystems with different elements, and they tried to see whose plant could grow the best in these different environments. And so for 5th grade, I'd like to highlight our use of science notebooks. In my 5th grade classroom, the students are responsible for bringing their notebook every single day to class, and it's an entire year's study, so they keep all of our units that we study in their science notebook. And there are 2 components to it. There's an input and an output. So the input is any information that I've given them. It might be vocabulary words, it might be questions from their reading, it might be a lab report. It's something that is teacher directed as the input. And then the output is the students' learning. What are they getting out of it? How has their learning changed? And I had a really cool example of one of my students. We were studying atoms and molecules, and at the beginning of every unit, I have the kids write down their questions. I have them write down word maps of what do you know about these concepts already. And one of my students opens up their book, and they had written that there were 1 million atoms in the world. And they laughed at that and they go, oh my gosh, I remember when I thought that there were 1 million atoms in the world, and then I learned that there are 1 million atoms in a strand of our hair. And so it was cool for them to be able to see that their learning should be changing as they're understanding more and more.